I'd like to call this meeting of the Yuba City City Council to order. This is our August 18th, 2026 meeting. City Council meetings are open to the public attendance and participation. This meeting is being held in the council chambers and is also accessible via Zoom at the link identified in the agenda. If you are attending remotely and wish to comment on a specific item, please electronically raise your hand. Email comments sent and received by the city clerk at least 24 hours before the meeting were distributed to the city council prior to the meeting. May I have roll call, please?
Mayor Boomgarden.
I'm here.
Vice Mayor Pasquale.
Here.
Councilmember Cole.
Here.
Councilmember Kirchner.
Present.
Councilmember Shaw.
Here.
All right. Mr. City Attorney, would you do us the great pleasure of reading closed session items in rapid fashion for us?
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. We have 3 items for closed session tonight. We have a liability claim. Claimant is Orchard Land Corporation. Claim number 2629, agency claimed against the city of Yuba City. Item B is liability claim. Claimant is Rebecca Roger and Gary Ernest Morse II. Claim number 2631, agency claimed against the city of Yuba City. Item C is liability claim. Claimant Sherry Gonsalves Johnson. Claim number 2632, agency claimed against the city of Yuba City. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I don't see any public here to ask for public comment, so we shall adjourn to closed session. Tap, tap. All righty. Good evening. Going to reconvene the regular meeting of the City Council of the City of Yuba City. It's August 18th, 2026. City Council meetings are open to public attendance and participation. This meeting is being held in the council chambers and is also accessible via Zoom at the link identified in the agenda. If you are attending remotely and wish to comment on a specific item, please electronically raise your hand. Email comments sent and received by the city clerk at least 24 hours before the meeting were distributed to the City Council prior to the meeting. Please note, our City Council meeting agendas are now available in Spanish and Punjabi. In addition, worldly translation services are available to the public both in person and via Zoom. Scan the QR code on the agenda to follow the meeting in your preferred language. May I have roll call, please?
Mayor Boomgarden.
Here.
Vice Mayor Pasquale.
Here.
Councilmember Cole.
Here.
Councilmember Kirchner.
Here.
Councilmember Shaw.
Here.
All right. This evening we have Invocation Inspiration by Pastor Spencer Fennell of the Calvary Christian Center. Welcome. We'll also have the Pledge Allegiance to the Flag by Tiffany Hereford. Would you please rise?
If you would, please close your eyes and bow your heads as we pray to the King of Jesus. Jesus, we come before you. And we thank you for this great opportunity for the city to conduct business. We thank you for who you are, God. You're loving, you're patient, and you're kind. Jesus, thank you for the great mercy that you show us. We acknowledge you in all of your glory, Jesus. You died on a cross and were raised to life again. And it's in that name we have authority to approach the throne of God. And so, Father, we approach now. Would you send your Holy Spirit to fill this room? Send him to give counsel and peace to each of these officials and those present here. Give peace and restored hope in you, Father. We thank you. We thank you for moving in our city and our state. Would you guide these conversations tonight so that your will is accomplished on earth as it is in heaven? God, grant us your favor tonight. Even now, as each one of us accomplishes your mission, God, for this city, that the business here conducted tonight would give you glory, it would give you honor, that it would point to you, and that each person here to conduct business, Father, would speak words of truth. And everybody here would be given your Holy Spirit's supernatural wisdom. And Jesus, if anyone here doesn't know you, but the peace of your Holy Spirit and the comfort of your Holy Spirit, God, would that be an indicator that you alone are King and are seated on the throne? Jesus, we thank you. It is in your mighty and holy name we pray. Amen.
Thank you. Pastor Fennell, and thank you, Ms. Hereford. Mr. City Attorney, could you report out on our closed session items, please?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We have reportable action taken in closed session. Item A, it was a notice of rejection, including due to no merit. Item B was a notice of rejection, including due to untimely filing. And item C was also a notice of rejection, including due not being to the city responsibility. Thank you.
Thank you. Agenda modifications. I have two items tonight. Item 10, side letter agreements with the Yuba City Firefighters Associations, Local 3793, and the Yuba City Fire Management Unit has been pulled from the consent calendar. It will return to the agenda on September 1st. And item 19, the agreement between the City of Yuba City and the Downtown Business Association. There's a recommendation correction. There is no resolution associated with this item. That's an item that we'll be bringing up later. Presentations, this is a good one. Number one, proclamation for Dave Dillabo, Yuba Sutter Fair. Dave, could you join us up front, please, with the council? All right. Get all the welcomes and howdies and everything going here. It's our great pleasure to spend a moment here to recognize Dave Dillabo. We also have members of the Fair Board. I'll let Dave introduce them. But Dave was instrumental, well, he's always instrumental in managing our fairgrounds. And what an asset to the city of Yuba City to have that within our city limits, but also to have the competent, professional, and very helpful management that you provide. Specifically, this July 4th, we had our very first drone show on the heels of the regular fair. So it was kind of crunch time-wise, but it pulled it off. And if you were at the drone show, it was a home run. And we've talked about it here many times, but that wouldn't have happened without the help of Dave and the Fair Board and those that partnered with us. So we have a little recognition here, if you'd allow me to read this. Yuba City proudly recognizes Dave Dillabo, the Yuba City Fair Board, and their staff for going above and beyond to host the first ever drone show to celebrate America's 250th anniversary this 4th of July. Through teamwork, dedication, and a genuine commitment to the community, they hosted a spectacular, and this is important, free event for local families and residents. Their willingness to step up and make this experience possible created a memorable celebration and demonstrated the spirit of service that makes Yuba City so special. City of Yuba City extends its very heartfelt thanks to Dave Dillabo, the Fair Board, and staff for putting the community first and helping create an unforgettable 4th of July celebration. So, I'll give this to you. Well, we'll do this. We have this fancy proclamation that I would like to give to you on behalf of the city council and the rest of the city. Thank you very much. Yep. We'll get a photo. Hold on. So, we want to give you an opportunity to speak and introduce your board members and staff. Yeah.
Well, on behalf of the Yuba City Fair Board and our staff, we're honored and super excited to receive this proclamation, and thank you all so very much for thinking about that. I do have with me Aaron Cucci and Kulwant Joel, two of the 8 board members that we have that represent the Yuba City Fair. And again, this event really kind of gets back down to what our purpose and our commitment to the community is, and that we are here to serve all of our communities. And when we were first approached about this and that call was given, it was a no-brainer to be involved in such a really neat event that represents not only our community, but our entire country. And we were very thankful to be thought of, to be part of it. And again, we hope that inaugural event will be something that we can continue on every year in this community. So thank you all so very much, council members, for this proclamation. and for the honor. Thank you.
All right, item 2 on our agenda is an update on the annual Sikh parade, and looks like Chief Runyon is stepping to the podium.
So good evening, Mayor, council members. So it's been about a month since I last provided an update, and I was just hoping to have a little more information from you. But at this point, as I indicated last time, the parade permit was due July 3rd. They did submit a permit for the parade. However, the big items, the major ticket items that we need for this parade has still not been done. We've asked for an update, and I haven't received anything yet. And those big items are the traffic management company, the bus company, as well as the security company. To put on a safe and successful event, we just need these companies identified and locked into a contract so we can start working with them to prepare as we are very vastly approaching this. So I did bring with me Zach Hamill from Sutter County OEM, and as you know, we partner with the county on this event because it crosses over both jurisdictions, and so he just wanted to provide an update from their perspective.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Again, Zach Hamill. I'm the Emergency Operations Manager for the county. I just wanted to touch base quickly on, this is a significant event for our community, and it's a year-round coordination effort to put this on. Sheriff Barnes compared it to an event that I think kind of brings it home for all of us to understand, and he compared it to the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl has 70 to 80,000 ticket holders that attend every year. And if you compare that to the Sikh parade, the Sikh parade is 2 to 3 times that size. And the Super Bowl takes multiple years to plan with a lot of resources, a lot of coordination. So that's what we're going through every year on a larger scale for our small community. Every year we have planning meetings with all of our stakeholders, the city, the county, bi-county ambulance, our federal and state partners. And we have those meetings at least once a month as we get closer to the event. It happens more frequently. As we get into August, September, October, it comes to 2-3 times a month. And then additionally to that, we hold exercises every year so we can identify those gaps, and we have time to react and understand what those gaps are and move resources appropriately to resolve those issues before the parade weekend. And then lastly, after the parade, we do an after-action report. So we identify what went well, what needs to be improved upon, and those lessons are not just put on a shelf. That's the starting point for the next year's planning cycle. So we continue to grow and build upon this event. But this doesn't happen in isolation. It's coordination, like I said, with our federal, state partners, our city partners, and all of those in between, including the Sikh community themselves. So this preparedness is something that does not go on without considerable man hours put into it. And like Chief Runyon said, we have a special event permit that mirrors the city, because we both put our special event permits in place at the same time, and we coordinated with that. So we too are lacking some of those key components. But with that said, we will continue to work with the Sikh community, and we'll continue to work with the temple and all of our stakeholders and guide them through to make this a safe and successful event. Thank you.
To the council, any questions? I guess I have one still, is have they given any kind of indication of when you might have those two critical components here, either to the city or the county?
No, other than we just kind of get word back that they're working on it. I would say that if there's an advantage that we've worked with these companies that they've used in the past, we have a direct line with them, but of course, their cooperation is only going to go so far until at some point they have been signed on a contract to put this event on. So fortunately, we got good relationships. We're kind of planning in the background in hopes that that's who they choose and that it will help make our plan smooth. And but it's kind of a hope at this point. We just keep asking for more information.
May not be a fair question, but I'll ask it anyway. Is there any indication from them that they've even been approached by the Sikh event people?
Looking at my traffic sergeant, he deals with them directly. Okay, so the bus company, they have not been approached, the one that we used last year. I believe there's been some conversations with the TMI, the traffic company. They did indicate that they were intending to use the same security company as last year, which they have used for the last couple of years. So that's, of the three, that's probably the lesser important one, to be honest. The other two are the really big ones that we need in place to get this thing moving.
So we will respectfully expect another briefing then at our first meeting in September.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any other questions from the council? All right. Thank you. Thank you, Zach. Also appreciate the update from the county's point of view and your work. All right. Moving on to item number 3, it's the appearance of interested citizens. You are welcome and encouraged to participate in this meeting. Public comment is taken on action items appearing on the consent calendar or business items on the agenda when they are called. Public comment on any other items within the scope of the city's jurisdiction, including items not listed on the agenda, will be considered at this time. If you are attending remotely and wish to comment, please electronically raise your hand and wait to be called. Public comment is limited to 3 minutes per speaker. Repetitive comments may be limited, and large groups are encouraged to select representatives to express the opinions of the group. Do we have any comments from the public on this item? I do have one speaker card from Tony Farley. So, Tony.
Tony Farley, North City, 1298 Willow Creek Drive, North City. Yeah, I'm here. I had 2 speaker cards. Second one is on number 5. But you see, police department dispatchers provide temporary dispatch service release services for Sutter County Sheriff's Office due to staffing shortages. So yeah, Yuba City Police Department. The head honcho, of course, is Jim Runyon, the chief of police, and who else charge dispatch will be Deidre. Deidre charges dispatch. So since Deidre's not here, the chief of police is here, and this police department is mutually in the county sheriff's department. So yeah, dispatchers, very hard to get a job there because the staffing shortages plus the anti-police rhetoric from the news agency, and it's just, yeah, like, I support my California Postal dispatcher. We need more dispatchers in California. Also need more reserve and full-time officers and also firefighters. So yeah, hopefully Yuba City will have more dispatchers in their command staff. Hopefully, be more dispatchers because this is sad. Being dispatchers is hard. You're most times doing night shift, day shift, and being dispatcher is hard. A lot of dispatchers suffer from PTSD. Similar to being in the uniformed service, the military, but you're in local military, you're in police department military, and sometimes dispatchers, it's hard. It's a hard job, hard career. So hopefully someday the police department will sheriff department will hire more dispatchers, so the PD hire more dispatchers, and Deidre will have this dispatch seminar. The Deidre will have this dispatch seminar from Deidre, and hopefully more dispatchers coming up. And hopefully, yeah, we need more dispatchers for the Sacramento region, Sacramento Valley. And mutual aid is good. PD's Mutual Aid County Sheriff's Department is very good. So hopefully Sheriff Department PD has more dispatchers. Matter of fact, better than that, go to Sacramento Career Fair and hire dispatchers from Sacramento. It'll be better. Sacramento, big city, recruit some Sacramento dispatchers. Be awesome. So hopefully, Yuba City, Sutter County, get a career boot, the Sacramento career fair, and hire Sacramento dispatchers. So hopefully that'll be good. So let's support dispatchers. So as you, police chief. That's all I need to talk about.
Thank you. Any other public comment from anybody in the audience? Switching to online. No comments online? All right. Next items are consent calendar. All matters listed under the consent calendar are considered to be routine and can be enacted in one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items prior to the time that the council votes on the motion, unless members of the city council request specific items to be discussed or removed from the consent calendar for individual action. And I'm reminding that item 10 was pulled from the consent calendar. Do we have any comments from the public on items 4 through 9 and 11 through 18? And Tony, you have listed here that you wanted to talk about number 5. Did you just kind of cover that with your other comments? Yeah, I did. Okay. Any other public comment on the consent calendar? Okay, how about online?
No public comment.
All right, I'll bring it back to the council for consideration of the consent calendar.
Through the mayor, move to approve consent calendar with the exception of item 10.
Second.
All right, I have a motion by Councilmember Shaw, second by Vice Mayor Pasquale. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed signify by saying no or nay. Hearing none. Also, any abstentions? Hearing none of those. Consent calendar items 4 through 9 and 11 through 18 have been approved unanimously. So now we fast forward to item number 19, which is an agreement between the City of Yuba City and the Downtown Business Association, and this will be presented by Mr. Robert Bendorf, the city manager.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, council members. So the item before you tonight, as you stated, agreement between the City of Yuba City and the Downtown Business Association. And we are excited to present this. And when I say we, I've been talking with DBA folks for just a hot minute or two about some type of agreement that can provide some efficiencies in our relationship with the Downtown Business Association, but also focus on what the Downtown Business Association really does for the greater Sutter County community and specifically Yuba City. And as you all know, they work so hard at putting on events that literally draw thousands of people to our city to enjoy not only the events down there, but they stay at our hotels. They do a little shopping, a little bit of eating at select restaurants on Plymouth Street. Anyway, I'm not mentioning any. That'd be like some, inadvertent advertisement. So I think what this agreement does, probably more than anything, it helps define some roles. And I think over the years, because of the activities and the events have gotten to be so many, and they really have quite a Herculean effort whenever they put on one of these events to coordinate. And not only coordinate amongst the downtown businesses, but coordinate with the cities as far as permits and traffic and all of those things that we do on a regular basis. And hopefully this starts the process. It's not the end-all be-all agreement with the Downtown Business Association, and it's meant to be a living, breathing document. I think we'll learn from what's in here, and then maybe add to it or subtract from it as we move forward. So again, improve coordination, more efficiencies, make our city much better when we work with the private sector to put on these destination events. So I already talked about the purpose for the most part. So there's some responsibilities that we identified in the MOU in talking with representatives from the DBA. And really, while we provide a lot of services now, and I think we understand what those are, we want to make sure they're in concert with what the DBA is trying to accomplish. So as you get an idea here, we have baseline municipal services. We will still do those, street sweeping, et cetera, tree trimming, public safety, such as our police department and fire, street maintenance, lighting, and signage. So we also provide quite a few more municipal services. But when we started talking about these, I'll give you an example, the street sweeping. So when I talked with Sandy, who was my point person, and as well as one or two others, we talked about, hey, so with the tree trimming, how do we sync this up with what's going to be done in the downtown as far as maintenance goes? And we talked about coordinating. This agreement brought this to light with when they do the sidewalk debris, and they use blowers to get the stuff off, or they power wash, et cetera, especially during the fall when the leaves drop. You know, can we coordinate the street sweeping along with the person that's going to be doing that for the downtown? And you'll see that here in a minute. So that's a good example of things that are brought up, and we're pretty happy that those things sort of rose to the surface, and again, offers a little bit better coordination. So the dollar amount's about $95,000. How do we come up with that number? So we looked at the services we provide currently and the dollar amounts that are associated with those. But at the same time, the second component, and probably equally as important, is what is the rate of return for all of this? And if you look, the $95,000, about a third of it, if you will, represents things that aren't covered already and that the city pays for. And so this will transfer it over to the DBA. Some of those duties, you'll see those in here in a second. But the other third of it is to put the full faith and confidence in the DBA that they'll continue to put these events on that benefit the city and also attracts visitors from outside. And in the interest in one of our strategies and our strategic plan, your council was very clear about focusing on expanding our economic development, visioning, if you will. And this is certainly one avenue. I've been told several times, and I am a true believer, and I tell others, that you really don't have an economic vision or an economic heartbeat unless you have a good downtown. And we're fortunate enough in Yuba City to have a great downtown and an association that really helps us move the city forward. So we'll continue to maintain Tower Park, and you see that one there as well. DBA responsibilities. So again, I'm not going to read all of these to you, but the signature events that happen that you can see there, they're well attended. Again, thousands of folks, but they'll be responsible for power washing the sidewalks, trash receptacles, remove debris, et cetera. And then we'll coordinate with the Downtown Business Association like we do now on city projects and construction impacts. And they'll report out a couple times a year based upon the funding we give them and the activities that they're coordinating, but also how the agreement's working out. And we hope it works out good. Again, $95,000. I talked about the $65,000 offset. So you asked, what are we doing now that we absorb the cost for? And so that is, when we can get to it, certainly the schedule for emptying trash receptacles, that's one. That will now be a function of the DBA. And again, the leaf blowing of the debris on the sidewalk and power washing along Plumas, et cetera. Those are all things, a couple of them new, but things that we typically do. Maintaining of the flower bowls, that'll be a DBA responsibility as well. And we'll work with them on the water that gets to the flower bowls and all that good stuff. So one of the alternatives, certainly you can do something different. If this agreement doesn't look up to par, we can certainly take it back and work on something further. And but we really feel that not having an agreement, it just creates operational inefficiencies. So a correction here on the recommendation, I don't have a resolution because the resolution was written into the MOU. So I would kindly ask the mayor that when you bring this to council for consideration, that the wording is authorize the city manager to execute the memorandum of understanding, but there's and there will be a new signature page. Right now it has your signature on it, Mr. Mayor, and we'll change the signature page with that technical amendment. What's that? Are you saying I didn't sign it yet? Yeah. Well, that was a direct ask from the DBA. They asked somebody else other than the mayor sign it. I don't know why, but just kidding. So, and then item 5, Shannon had a fancy term for it, but item 5 in the MOU, we're just striking that. But I think you said put it in reserve?
Yes, item 5 is reserved.
Reserved, yeah. Thanks. So, it's always nice to add to our reserves. Is that what you're thinking? No?
It keeps
Not
us
the same
from having to
thing. All right.
remember.
And then also on page 5, these are all Robert's errors, by the way. I'll just self-admit. Instead, it says 60 and then in parentheses 90. That's meant to be 90 total. So 90 in the narrative word. So in item number 10. That's all I got.
All right. Before I bring it back to the council, anyone from the DBA wish to speak on this?
Is it on? Oh, there we go. Thank you. Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Sandy Drown, and I'm with the Yuba City Downtown Business Association as a board member and also as the current interim coordinator until we find a new one. I also have with me today some other board members, Tiffany Hayford and Natalie Silverson. Thank you. I always mess that one up. And then I also have one of our vendors, which is called Donnenfeld Surface Solutions, which is here, who will be doing our street sweeping and some of the maintenance that we've hired out for. So he's here as well. But I just wanted to thank, one, Robert. I've been on the board since 2019, and I've been looking for a kind of a clearer transparency of what the city does, what the DA is supposed to do. So I really do thank you that with your leadership and your expertise to finally bring this kind of to fruition. So I really appreciate all your hard work on that. The DBA is excited about this opportunity. We want to thank the city for trusting us with that. And we are so excited to be able to do our reports twice a year. We'll have a cute little PowerPoint and everything, but I just wanted to thank you on your leadership on that, and then the council for trusting us and making sure that we continue to keep our downtown beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you, Sandy. Okay.
My name is Natalie Severson. As Sandy said, I am on the DBA board, Downtown Business Association. I am not a restaurant business. I am a portrait photographer down on the street. I am super excited. When this came about, I wasn't super sure on the whole idea and concept of it, but working with Robert, getting some more fine lines and figured out what the destination is and kind of more of the readout of where we're going with this is super exciting. So I'm super excited. I know we're gonna have an awesome rest of the year because the car show is coming up. That's my exciting event. I cannot wait. And I hope that with the help of you guys and putting this really into happening in motion, it's gonna be so awesome for downtown. On behalf of our businesses downtown, the community, and everybody, I think we still have wheels under us, and it's going to continue to grow and just get bigger and better. So that's what I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Back to the council for any questions. Before comments, just questions. No questions? Comment time then.
Good, David. Oh, through the mayor. First of all, Robert, thank you for getting this across the finish line, because we talked about it last year, and the mayor will tell you we've talked about this for about 8 years. Yeah, really 8 years. And when you know the DBA and you understand what's going on, there were so many lines that were blurred. We're responsible for this. The city's responsible for that. No, you're responsible. And it kept going back and forth. And it wasn't because anybody was being difficult. It was because you guys have pride and ownership down there. You guys have a passion to see it developed. And this was actually the missing piece that's going to bring this together. So I just want to say thank you to you guys. And I want you to take that passion that you have and that pride of ownership and own downtown, take it to the next level that we're going to be at. And hopefully this document is the start. And if we need to refine it, we reserved number 5. So we can always put that in there. And I think it should be, what is it, free wings on Tuesday? Sound good? As far as, and photography on Tuesday. There you go. So it's all going to come together. But laying the jokes aside, very honored to have the DBA, the majority of the downtown in District 1. You guys are the shining beacon of our district, and let's take it to the next level. And I'm just so thankful that you guys were able to get this thing across the line and rock on. Thank you, guys.
Through the Mayor, being part of the DBA, because you are part of my district as well as David's, getting rid of these inefficiencies, the confusion, and now taking on the pride of ownership, which I know you all will take this very seriously. Being a business owner myself, I was down 2 blocks in each direction cleaning my area in front of my business, and I know all of you will take that very seriously now that you are handed the responsibility as well as the accountability and the ownership of that. This was a long time coming. I'm looking really forward to it for you because I know you're going to shine. You're going to be able to do this so much better than the city has been able to do for you. There's been times that I've been down in your district and I've been appalled. 4th of July parade for the kids, there was garbage and nothing to do with any of you, but not being able to fully communicate and get things done in a timely manner. I know that this is going to alleviate a lot of that. And the best of luck to all of you. And I'm 100% behind this. It's a good thing for our community. That yield.
I'm glad you mentioned that. Mr. Mayor, listen, they recognize the DBA, their entire board and their members. We talked about this several times, and they recognize that the city is operating with a few less resources than we've had. And, when I queried Josh Wolf and several other staff members about what they do currently, this is a big step for them, but also a big step for the DBA. It's a lot of responsibility, but they want to help. And that's what they kept communicating, that, hey, they want to help because their city as much as anyone else's. So anyway.
Okay, my turn for a quick comment. Councilmember Shaw hit the nail on the head when he talked about this thing's been 7 years in trying to get this thing done. Again, no specific causation for why it hasn't happened, but I'm just so happy that it finally has happened. Because I do think whenever you're dealing with shared expectations, things go a lot more smooth than without. I can remember a day when I was on staff here at the city when we had that street tore up and the impact it had on the businesses down there as we went through all the remodel. And to see what it's transforming into and how it continues to evolve into just really this gem in the center of our city. And even though it doesn't lie within the best district in the city, it's still near and dear to my heart. I consider it by adoption, mine too. So anyway, to all those that are involved in the agreement and to Robert, kudos, congratulations. To us up here on the dais, this is just another opportunity to partner with our business community for the betterment of the quality of life within the city of Yuba City. And I really feel good about this finally getting to the finish line. So thank you all so much. And with that, I will entertain a motion.
Through the mayor. Before I make the motion, I will remind you of a great American, Ricky Bobby, who said, if you're not first, District 1, you're last. Now we'll get serious. I moved I move to authorize the city manager to execute a memorandum of understanding between the City of Yuba City and the Downtown Business Association to establish a collaborative framework for downtown economic development, event coordination, tourism, and beautification.
As updated as recommended.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Subject to form and whatever.
Second.
All right, I have a motion by Councilmember Shaw and a second by Councilmember Cole. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Hearing none, item number 19 passes unanimously. Thank you. I'm looking forward to all kinds of good things down there, including the car show. All right. Number 20, Office of Traffic Safety Selective Traffic Enforcement Program. This is a STEP grant. This is going to be presented by Police Sergeant David Kraus.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, council members. It's a pleasure to speak to you today about the Selective Traffic Enforcement Program Grant, or STEP grant. This is a grant that we've received annually for several decades now. Each year we get approximately somewhere in the neighborhood of 80 to 120,000. So this year we applied for this grant, and in June we were awarded the grant at $90,000, which is typical from year to year. It'll fund multiple selected or specific enforcement operations throughout the city. And before I get into exactly what it is going to fund, let me run some stats by you. I would like to illustrate just how impactful these operations are for the city. So in 2023, Office of Traffic Safety has stats. We are compared with 103 other cities with similar populations and demographics to us and similar size throughout the state of California. The most recent stats that we have are from 2023, but these are indicative from year to year, and they're pretty consistent. In 2023, we had 375 fatal or injury collisions in Yuba City. Out of 103 cities that are similar to us, that puts us at number 11. Of those collisions, 52 of them involved alcohol. Of 103, that puts us at number 15. Of those collisions, 8 of them involved drivers that were under 21 that had been drinking, puts us at 4th of 103. So despite those numbers, in 2023 we made 240 DUI arrests. That puts us at number 5 for the most proactive agency for making arrests. A couple years before that, we were number 1. This year, from October 1st of 25 till now, and our fiscal year doesn't end until the end of September, we've arrested 436 DUIs. That's almost double where we were at the end of the year in 23. That put us at number 5. Well, I would hesitate to think that we're anything other than number 1 for our demographics this year, for our proactive enforcement. So because of 20 and 99 running through the town, we have an unusually high number of traffic, or a high amount of traffic that flows to this city, which causes these numbers to be unusually high, which is also why we are unusually proactive when it comes to traffic enforcement. These grants are part of the reason why. So this $90,000 will fund DUI checkpoints, 5 of them throughout the year, DUI saturation patrols, 20 of them, collaborative DUI enforcement, that's where we work with other agencies in our immediately surrounding area, CHP and Sutter County typically, to do more DUI enforcement. General traffic enforcement, where we just hit the road for 6 hours and do nothing but traffic enforcement, traffic safety enforcement. Distracted driving. Statistically, the numbers hover around 10 to 15% of the collisions throughout the state of California can be attributed to distracted driving. It's as high as a third. Those are only the ones that admit it, by the way. Pedestrian and bicycle safety, that one's near and dear to my heart. We've had 5 fatal collisions this year since, I should say, the fiscal year for the OTS. So since October 1st of 25 until now, we've had 5 fatal crashes. 4 of them have been pedestrians. Motorcycle safety enforcement, where we go out and focus on just motorcycle safety. Street racing and sideshow. Fortunately, we've seen a drop in this type of activity. However, they're still funding a couple of those operations. Collaborative traffic enforcement, the same as the DUI, it just involves some surrounding agencies. The grant also funds travel expenses for traffic-related training, such as standardized field sobriety tests and advanced roadside impairment training for our officers. And it provides some funding for DUI checkpoint supplies, such as reflective vests and cones and things of that nature. So with that in mind, it's our recommendation that we accept this grant and get to work, deploying officers in an effort to deter unsafe driving behaviors, specifically driving while impaired. Alternatives is not to accept the grant. We can seek other sources of funding, but no part of this grant is not reimbursable. It costs the city a net zero. They refund everything quarterly.
Well, that was sobering, but I appreciate the information. It sounds to me like you guys have your hands full, and I appreciate all the work that you all do. Council, any comments?
Through the mayor.
Yes.
Sergeant Krause, the bicycle safety issue, I've experienced it probably 2 or 3 weeks ago, being on a ride along in the evening. And it's rampant that grown individuals do not follow the rules of the road when they get on a bicycle. There was one felony arrest because of that. He stood out and he got pulled over and he had a warrant for his felony. And I thought that was quite apropos for the individual that he would engage in an illegal activity and he's wanted. But yeah, I think the more we can do down at the junior high and high school possibly, to get people to realize that you follow the rules of the road when you're on a bicycle, I think would go a long, long way. So that's my observation and what I think might be something that we need to take a pretty hard look at this point. So thank you, Mayor.
Anybody else?
Yeah, through the mayor. Echoing the vice mayor's sentiment, I run into it continuously with kids and adults, bicycles not following the rules, but more poignant to what I've been seeing lately and is a concern of mine is all these e-bicycles, whether they're e-motorcycles or e-bicycles. They're ripping up and down the sidewalks or in the middle of the road or in the bike lanes. Hopefully this grant can be used to curb that when it says pedestrian and bicycles. That would include e-bikes and such as well, I assume.
It does, and the general portion of that. Any of these that specifically focused details that we do, even the DUI ones, we're out there on the road stopping any violation that we see. So they all end up being in some form a general enforcement where we just have more of a presence in the community, and we can certainly address those things. To speak to the bicycle stuff, we do school programs called BEEP, and there's a number of them that have to do with bicycle helmets where we provide some education to the kids, and it's a good relation for us to have with the schools. OTS does provide funding for that. When I apply for these grants, I try to pick the things that we need the most. I can certainly add that to my application and try to get some funding specifically for that to get those schools up. I think it's a great idea.
Okay, no, I would appreciate it. Ironically, when it comes to bicycles, it seems to be more of the grown-ups that aren't following the law. When it comes to the e-bikes, it's really more of the kids because they're on their scooters and stuff. That's just what I've noticed. But not for today, but I would leave you with a question because I've seen this all over the news. A lot of other jurisdictions are having to adopt separate ordinances because of e-bikes and stuff. And so my question for a future date would be, do we need to do anything to change ours to make sure you guys are well equipped? Because the last thing we want to see is a kid underneath a car or an adult underneath a car because of them being on the wrong type of e-bike or whatnot and get themselves hurt. So for a future date, just wanted to plant that seed.
I can answer part of it.
Sure.
The state of California has actually added legislation very recently to classify e-bikes. Anything over 750 watts or capable of exceeding 28 miles per hour becomes a motor-driven cycle, in which case we can impound the vehicle that they're on if they don't have a proper motorcycle license. And those types of bikes are not registered on the road anyway, and they end up getting a number of citations for it. We've already taken some action on that, including the impounding of one of those bikes. That's a new law that went into effect this year. And then I believe 2020 or 2019, e-scooters, I didn't even know this, I had to go look it up, but e-scooters require a California driver's license and an age of 16 or over to ride them, and a helmet, even on any public road. And these are the little electronically powered scooters. So there are some legislation already in effect that we can use to help curb some of this stuff. However, if the problem persists, it's certainly an option that we could look at, and any tool we have helps.
Thank you.
Other questions, comments? I would just echo the e-bike thing. There's a lot of information that flows across our email about jurisdictions and the issues that they are being taken up with this e-bike phenomena, and the scooters as well. And I know my experience with these folks, and it seems to span all age groups. They're zooming all over the place, and it's just a matter of, I mean, you probably already have seen it, Sergeant Krause, but it's like, whoa, this is going to be a problem. So glad to hear that your guys are on it, and glad that there's some stuff coming down from the state. But yeah, more to follow, I'm sure. All right, any public comment? Any online?
No public comment.
Okay, we'll bring it back to council.
Through the mayor.
Okay.
Item number 2, Office of Traffic Safety Selective Traffic Enforcement Program Grant. A, adopt a resolution authorizing the Chief of Police to accept $20,000 in grant funding from the 2627 Collective Traffic Enforcement Program and approve expenditure recommendations. B, authorize the Finance Director to make the following supplemental appropriations to account number 2164-61430, $85,472 for the personnel overtime costs. Number 2164-62801, $3,398 for the travel and training. And account number 2164-63801 of $1,130 for the direct costs associated with the grant. And reimbursement revenues will be recorded through account number 2164-43409.
Second.
All right, I have a motion by Vice Mayor Pasquale, a second by Councilmember Kirchner. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Item 20 passes unanimously. Thank you, Sergeant Krause. Item 21, fiscal year 26-27 Cannabis Tax Fund Grant Program, the CTFGP from the California Highway Patrol. Presentation by David Krause, our Sergeant. Hi.
It's my distinct pleasure to bring you this grant. This is similar to the OTS, but it's from a different source. The Cannabis Tax Fund Grant Program, or CTFGP, comes from Proposition 64, which passed in 2016. California, it comes from revenue generated by legal marijuana sales throughout the state. California voters mandated that the state set aside funding for the California Highway Patrol to award grants to local governments in accordance with tax code. I submitted for this grant last year after being made aware of it. I didn't know it was around in 2016, but this is a bit more ambitious than the OTS. So in June of 2026, the California Highway Patrol did award us the grant in the amount of a little bit more than $269,600 for fiscal year 26-27. This grant runs in accordance with the federal fiscal year of July 1st until June 30th of next year. No matching funds are required for the city. This grant's will, if we accept it, fund 4 more DUI checkpoints, and this is in addition to the OTS grants, which would put us at 9 on the year. It would 24 more DUI saturation patrols, in addition to OTS, that would put us at 44 for the year. Training for 6 officers to receive standardized field sobriety tests, and the grant does cover travel and associated expenses with sending officers to the school, 4 officers to advanced roadside impairment enforcement, and 2 officers to the pinnacle of DUI enforcement, which is drug recognition expert school. They can testify in court as experts. It also funds the acquisition of equipment, a fully outfitted police patrol vehicle. They allocated $95,000 for that. A 3/4 ton police vehicle. It's also a patrol vehicle, but it'll be utilized to pull our DUI trailer and other utilities for the police department. And the purchase of 15 brand new preliminary alcohol screening devices. Those are the devices that we use for DUI enforcement to present to the courts and the district attorney's office for evidence of somebody's blood alcohol content. The devices we have worked well, but they're 20 years old and obsolete, not being used anymore. They need to be replaced. The grant gives us $12,000, I believe, to purchase 15 new ones. So to recap, that's $260 or a little more than $269,000 for the acquisition of a patrol vehicle, a heavy-duty truck, training for 12 officers in DUI enforcement, 24 DUI SATs, and 4 more DUI checkpoints. That puts us at enough checkpoints to run almost just shy of 1 a month, and enough DUI saturation patrols to run just shy of 1 every week throughout the entire year. So getting back to some of those stats that I was talking about earlier, that's where the benefit of this comes from, or comes to. Another thing that I'll point out is when OTS purchases equipment, I have to constantly report on the depreciating value of that equipment. And at any time, if we're not using it in accordance with OTS's prescribed or prescriptions for the use of that equipment, they can actually take it back and issue it to somebody else. This grant does not operate that way. As long as we purchase the equipment with the intended use that they prescribe, we own it. So once they buy that patrol vehicle or that truck and it comes to the city, we don't have to report on it anymore, and we own it. So our recommendation is to accept this grant and, again, immediately begin deploying officers and utilizing this equipment and enforcement details to make things safer in our city. Our alternative is to not accept the grant and look for alternative sources of revenue. I don't know where we would find $269,000.
Wow. Kudos for finding the grant, and even more so, writing the successful grant application. That's a lot of money and a lot of good equipment. Questions from the council?
The mayor.
Yes.
Since this is funded by Reefer Madness, I was wondering, how do you detect somebody that is stoned on marijuana? Is there any that blow thing work, or does this special training kick in?
That's where the special training kicks in. There are physiological symptoms that are consistent with marijuana use that will show signs of impairment. It helps to have some drug recognition expert training so that you can articulate that in court and to a district attorney's office to provide the evidence that you need. One of them, though, that has always fascinated me is marijuana affects the eyes. If you try, I don't know if anybody in here smokes weed. I have never done that. But if you try to cross your eyes, you'll find that it's very difficult, or you can only do it for a moment and one eye will bounce back out. It's called a convergence test. And it's very fascinating to watch people's eyes go in for a second and then one will pop. They do all kinds of weird stuff. But if you think about how humans see distance and we judge speed, it's because our eyes have a natural ability to converge on one object. 2 eyes, 1 object, we gauge distance that way. If your ability for your eyes to converge is inhibited, you're not going to sense speed, and you can't judge distance, both of which are very imperative to safely operating a motor vehicle. So it's those types of things that we look for, those types of symptoms that we look for with marijuana use in particular, and those types of things that we can articulate in court to make a case against somebody for driving impaired.
Thank you, sir.
Anybody else?
Through the mayor.
Yeah.
I've just got one question going through the report, and I know the mayor will remember this from several years ago. We went through the whole process, I think it's when we replaced the fleet for PD, went about 4 years ago, that we had to get away from Ford Explorers and go to Tahoes. and we converted the fleet yard, everything from Ford to Chevy and everything else. And now this one's going to buy a Ford Explorer. So why? And, is there a reason behind it? And because it seems like we'd be buying a Tahoe to match our fleet, or is there something I'm missing? I just need clarification why we're kind of going backwards.
The only reason why a Ford Explorer was selected is because it performed best on a track. So that's the quote that I got for this particular grant. This vehicle is going to be assigned to the traffic unit specific. That is one of the requirements of the grant, that we acquire it for traffic use. It's going to be set up slightly different than the other cars. It's going to have internal lights and it's going to look a little bit different. Still very visible, but it's going to be specific to the traffic unit. We're going to use it for DUI enforcement in particular for a lot of those details. I picked it because it's a slightly smaller vehicle that's slightly more maneuverable, but it performed better on the track. The monies that are allocated in this grant, though, it's a dollar amount that was based on a quote, but there's no specification in the grant that I have to use it for a Ford. So that's not a sticking point. That's just the quote that I got for this vehicle.
Okay, thank you. I was just trying to understand because I remember going through that big ordeal, and all of a sudden here comes an Explorer, and I'm going, okay, are we going back again? So, Ford, Chevy, it's been going on for 100 years.
I apologize for any confusion. I simply looked at a spec sheet and grabbed the fastest car I could find, to be honest with you.
Ferrari, McLaren.
Yeah, those are a little out of their price range.
Any other questions from the council? All right. Anyone from the public like to comment? Anybody online?
No comment online.
All right. Bring it back to the council for action.
All right, through the mayor, I move to adopt a resolution authorizing the chief of police to accept $666.80 in grant funding from the 2026-27 Cannabis Tax Fund Grant Program and approve expenditure recommendations. And B, authorize the finance director to make the following supplemental appropriations to account number 2162-61430. $61,210.80 for personnel overtime cost. Number 2162-63801, $12,000 for tools, supplies, and equipment. Number 2162-62801, $15,456 for travel and training expenses. And number 2162-69401, $181,000 for equipment expenses. Reimbursement revenues will be recorded through account number 2162-69401.
All right. I have a motion by Councilmember Cole, a second by Councilmember Shaw. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Hearing none, item 21 passes unanimously. Thank you again for that grant application and successful award. Item number 22 is the rezone number 23-05 for the Calvary Christian Center. Presentations by Doug Libby, our Development Services Director.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. So tonight you're being asked to introduce an ordinance to approve Rezone 2305 to remove what's called the X19 overlay district, which would leave the property being zoned just an office commercial district. A little history back July 8th, the Planning Commission conducted a public hearing and approved an amendment to the use permit 0713 by adopting Environmental Assessment 2313 and a mitigated negative declaration. With that approval, it also updated the conditions of approval for the use permit. So this is a vacant 12-acre site located at the southeast corner of State Route 20 and El Margarita Road. Just to give you a little background for the amendment that went before the Planning Commission, this slide shows the site plan, shows the differences between the original approved use permit and the amendment. You can see the main building reduced down in square footage from 80,000 to 53,000 square feet. The seating capacity was reduced to 1,145 seats. There was a slight increase in the K-8 school, up to 23,000 from 16,000. But overall parking was able to be reduced down to 417 spaces. Thought it'd be helpful to let you see some of the elevation views of the proposed church. And here's a very nice rendering of what the facility will look like. This is compatible with the area. When you look at, we have River Valley High School to the south. We have regional commercial to the east. I think the area is in transition. You have some existing single-family homes just to the west and high visibility along State Route 20. You know, the big issue for this project and similar and other development right around this area, it just boils down to traffic. Specifically the intersection of El Margarita and Highway 20. And where the traffic movement that causes the problem is when you're heading north on Highway, or when you're heading north on El Margarita, and you're going to make a left onto Highway 20, so you're then making a left and heading out towards Sutter, there's delays in that traffic movement when the traffic engineers do the modeling. And so when you put more and more people out there, the delay just gets increasingly large. So you might remember last fall, the Ridge Estates, it was a 141 acres, 141 unit subdivision. It had a condition put on it that they could only develop the first 80 dwelling units before they had to do a new traffic study to look at implementing some improvements to that intersection. Caltrans did have concern with this project. And so we do have condition number 29, add use permit, which basically says that the church can't develop. We cannot issue a building permit until the traffic improvements are made to the intersection of Highway 20 and El Margarita. And so those improvements would be done through what's Caltrans terminology, an intersection safety and operational assessment process. That's a mouthful. And that would be completed by the applicant or city prior to Caltrans issuing an encroachment permit. Now, is this part of the project, remember, we're only doing the rezoning that moves forward to council. You can see that the X19 is being proposed to be removed, so the project property would just be zoned office commercial. So the question is, well, X19, what does that even mean? So that overlay was put on as part of the pre-annexation zoning before the property even was annexed to the city. And so at that time, the city didn't have a lot of the programs and policies in place on the western side of the city to really accommodate the development. And so the X19 was put on to kind of set the parameters for which development could occur. However, since then, we've updated our city traffic model, forecast and operation analysis. We've updated our road impact fee as well as adopted a 2040 general plan. All of those things combined have made frankly, the X19 district irrelevant. You might remember back in January 2023, we brought forward a proposal just to the east of this, the Spirit Drive parcel map. The X19 zone was removed. More recently, the Superintendent of Schools Training and Conference Center that was finished this spring, they had also come forward to remove the X19 district. And then I mentioned earlier the Ridge Estates, that project had a similar zone that was implemented as part of the pre-annexation zoning, and that was removed as part of approval of that project. So as I said, the environmental document was approved previously, so we're asking the City Council to make findings that the project has been fully assessed environmentally and that no additional environmental review is needed. In order to approve a rezoning, we have to make certain findings. Planning Commission has made those recommendations reflected in the proposed ordinance before you tonight. So the recommended action is conduct a public hearing, introduced by title only, an ordinance of the city to approve rezone 2305, removing the X19 overlay district, so the property would have the zoning of office commercial. On a 12-acre parcel located at the southeast corner of El Margarita Road and State Route 20. I will note that I spotted a typo in your recommendation, which I apologize for. You'll see that where I say here, State Route 20, the recommendation mistakenly says 10, so I apologize for that. With that, that would conclude my presentation. We do have representatives from the church here to answer any questions or to make comments. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Libby. Pastor Ciacciola, would you care to make any comments? Or not necessary by any means, just giving you the opportunity if you so choose. Okay, we'll bring it back to the council for any questions before we open up the public hearing. All right, seeing none. The public hearing for rezone, let me go back. Any online?
No comments online.
Okay. Actually, I got ahead of myself. The public hearing for rezone 23-05 for Calvary Christian Center is now open. If there are any members of the public who would like to address the council on this issue, please provide your statement from the podium and state your name and address for the record. Anybody from the public? Anybody online? Sorry about that. Got you twice.
No comments online.
Okay. Hearing no further comment on this issue, I'm closing the public hearing and bringing the matter back to the council.
Through the mayor,
Yes, sir.
I make a motion to introduce by title only an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Yuba City approving rezone 23-05 and rezoning assessors parcel 63-010-145 for official commercial zone district combined with the X19 zone district CO X19 by removing the X19 zone district, resulting in the property being rezoned to the official commercial CO zone district on a 12-acre parcel located on the southeast corner of El Margarita Road and State Highway 20, Close Highway.
And Councilmember, you referenced office commercial?
I did.
Thank you very
yes,
much.
Office commercial, thank you.
Through the mayor.
Yes.
Before I second that, may I ask Pastor Ciacciola a quick question?
How about if we, are you going to second?
I'm going to second it.
Okay.
But I just have a quick question.
Yeah, sure.
So Pastor C, I'm just curious because going through if you don't mind going to the podium, when we went through the presentation and it just hit me, I apologize for being late. It said certain things had to happen. This is housekeeping here with getting rid of the overlay. But what is a realistic time frame that Calvary would like to develop the property? And because I know we've got other things right there on the El Margarita. Do you have any idea of what would be ideal for you, sir?
Ideally, we're waiting for the purchaser of the adjoining property to finish payment to us. I believe he has about another 20 months before that is due. Yeah, next year. And so we can then officially put the current facility up for sale. And the combined revenues from both will get us to construct stage one of two stages that are going to go on that corner. Just to reiterate, we are not funded by any kind of other outside organizations that come in and write checks for us to build buildings. If we were building a commercial enterprise there, it would be funding from other resources. In our case, it's all by donation and some wise sale of some of the property we had acquired earlier. So what we don't want to do is start a building program that we cannot afford to pay for on a monthly basis by having incurred debt. We're trying to do everything we can to pay for phase one rather, for just as we go. We'll have the cash to do that. So that's the time frame looks like somewhere between, at this point, 1.5 to 2 years to finish the sale, unless he speeds up paying for what he's purchased for those automobile dealerships adjacent to us. And once that gets rolling, I would have built this 20 years ago if I'd have had the cash in my hand. But I'm not going to jeopardize a financial institution called a church because I have a desire to build a building. A vacated building that you can't pay for is a blight, and we want to be an asset to Yuba City and Sutter County. So That's why we have delayed getting started. Those are the protocols that we have in place. Funding is relying on the goodwill of the people. We've got substantial amounts that they've given toward that already, that is earning interest for us as we speak here tonight. But again, we need the funding from the sale of the other adjoining property and the current property going up for sale. So,
All righty.
does that help?
That helps me, sir. It was just curiosity killed the cat, they say. I was just curious because I know you've wanted to build it, and I know this is housekeeping, but I was just curious when this might be back before us, and it sounds like maybe 2 years is the time frame. So thank you, sir.
Or sooner. Yeah.
And with that, I would second the motion.
All right. Thank you for the explanations, Pastor. All right, I have a motion by Councilmember Kirchner, a second by Shaw, Councilmember Shaw. My apologies. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, item number 22 passes unanimously. Thank you, Mr. Libby. Item number 23, the wastewater treatment facility outfall diffuser relocation project resolution authorizing execution of final form of agreement. This one's presented by our utilities director, Mr. Phil Marler.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council members. The item I bring before you tonight is the wastewater treatment facility outfall diffuser state revolving fund loan closing resolution. So this is a picture of our current outfall diffuser following the collapse of the Shanghai Falls. As you can see, the changes to the river left the diffuser exposed, which has significantly impacted our ability to use this as a reliable discharge point. So some project background. So the wastewater treatment facility has 2 discharge points. Point 1 is the outfall diffuser shown on the previous slide. And then point 2 is effluent ponds. In 2011, the Shanghai Falls collapsed, which changed the river channel and left our primary discharge point exposed. And because of that, we can no longer use outfall in a manner that meets the requirements for our city's MPDS permit. Then in 2017, the Orville Dam incident brought a significant amount of sediment to the effluent ponds, which made the ponds unsuitable as a reliable long-term discharge option. So today, neither of our existing discharge points provides a reliable long-term solution. Because of this, the state has required us to relocate and replace the outfall diffuser. So project design. So in July of 2025, as we move through the final design process, the engineer's estimate increased significantly. Given the size and importance of this project, we had a third-party engineering firm independently review and verify those increased costs. Then we incorporated the higher range estimate into our rate study so that we were planning around a realistic project cost and not an earlier, lower estimate. Funding analysis. So we were able to secure a $50 million loan through the state revolving fund with a favorable interest rate. The construction installment sale agreement has been drafted and is essentially complete. We are now at the point where we need council to approve the resolution authorizing us to execute that agreement. The remaining anticipated funding gap of $11.8 million has been programmed as revenue bonds, and we are actively seeking grant opportunities at the local, state, and federal levels to help reduce that funding gap. At the same time, we are continuing to evaluate our overall funding strategy with the city's financial advisors. The fiscal impact, the loan is, like I said before, $50 million with a 2.2% interest rate over a 30-year term. The repayment is scheduled to begin in fiscal years 2029, 2030, and the annual debt service has already been programmed into the rate schedule. This financing structure allows us to move forward with this required project while spreading the repayment over the useful life of this improvement. So recommendation, staff recommends adopting a resolution approving the final form of the agreement with the State Water Resources Control Board's Clean Water State Revolving Fund Loan Program for the wastewater treatment facility effluent outfall diffuser relocation project and authorizing execution and delivery thereof. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
All right, bring it back to the council for any questions. Mr. Marler? All right. Do we have any public comment on this item? Any online comment for this item?
No online comments.
All right. Bring it back to council for possible action on item number 23.
Through the mayor. Move to adopt a resolution approving the final form of the agreement with the State Water Resources Control Board's Clean Water State Revolving Fund Loan Program for the wastewater treatment facility, effluent outfall diffuser relocation project, and authorizing execution and delivery thereof.
Second.
I have a motion.
Oh,
I did have a comment, but I was waiting until you got done.
Do you want to leave? You want to do it now before I call the number? Go ahead.
Mr. Mayor and council members, I just wanted to just add a couple notes on this. It is a big ticket item, and I really want to thank Phil and his team, Scarlett and others at Wastewater for really trying to explore different options. So we've taken a good team approach to this, and as several of the council members are aware, we continue to evaluate, where the additional money is going to come from. We work with our financial advisors. We have a big call coming up in another week and a half, but we're still looking at ways to maybe draw down a little bit less than the $50 million in the state revolving fund. A great cooperation from the State Water Board, who controls that fund, but we're also looking for grant money to decrease the overall cost. Because whether we borrow $50 million or $10 million, ratepayers still have to pay it back. And so working with the mayor as well, we've shopped this around like it's like a marketplace deal or something. We went to everybody, and other than posting it online, I think. And we've talked with Senator Dolly's office, I believe Congressman Thompson, and the list goes on with the folks that we've talked to. So we look at federal loan options, we look at USDA, governor's administration, and working with GoBiz. We've had meetings with iBank, and then also, again, the state revolving fund and our financial advisor. So there's just been a lot of work that's gone into this, and I really want to compliment Phil and his staff and finance and the entire council for supporting us going after finding ways to maybe reduce that pain a little bit. But we're still trying, so don't count us out yet.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm glad you interrupted. I met last week with a representative from U.S. Senator Padilla's office on this, and the one pager that you guys have put together, that's so helpful because it just puts it right out in front of them. So I should hopefully hear something back from Senator Padilla's office, maybe this week. That's hopeful. In constant contact with Congressman Thompson's office as well. They actually are looking at more of a loan than a grant at this point. They've been dealing with FEMA. Good luck with that, right? So I know you guys have done that as well. But anyway, as Robert said, we keep plunking away at it. But this is a great first step. Probably should have stopped and said, hey, look, this is a $50 million deal. We probably shouldn't not take a little bit of time and talk a little bit about it and the hard work that's put in to get us to this point for sure.
And I don't want to leave out Congressman Gallagher's office too. I mean, that's obviously our representative, and the same as the others. We worked with all of them trying to find some type of relief, and they're all working hard to try and find that for us.
Yep, thank you for that as well. All right. So without all that being said, I think I went through public comment already, correct? All right, a motion.
Second.
Have to remind me.
now we got a second.
Okay. Got a motion by Councilmember Shaw, a second by Vice Mayor Pasquale. All those in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Item number 23 passes unanimously. Item number 24, future agenda items. To the City Council, any items for future agendas? Okay. Reports and communications, number 25 is the City Manager's report.
I have nothing to report, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Councilmember Cole, you're first up.
Okay, not too much, but I did want to thank you, Mayor, for arranging the Freebirds baseball game for us a few weeks ago. I've never thrown out a pitch, and I haven't thrown a baseball in 30 years, so that was fun. And then also, we had a community meeting earlier this week, or was it last week? It's still summer for me. I'm a teacher. I don't know what day it is. So we had a community meeting with the topic of Sam Brannan Park at hand, and I just really do appreciate community involvement. The squeaky wheel does get the grease, and we had a great conversation. Whether we agree or disagree, it's a lot of collaboration, and that's what makes things synergize, and it makes things happen. So it was nice, and thanks, Robert, for putting that on. That's all I have to report.
Thank you. Next up, Councilmember Kirchner.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I did attend the bill leadership changeover reception at Sopatai. I think all of us, or most of us, participated in the Purple Heart Trail on 20 and 99. The Freebird game was mentioned. Thank you, Mayor, for putting that together. Gil Sizer was canceled due to an oversight on a scheduling conflict. The Homeless Consortium, we had a presentation, was presented dealing with, what's that? The Depot, Salvation Army. And Mosquito, unfortunately, is getting in the news because the West Nile had its first candidate here in Sutter County. I do want to echo Councilmember Cole's appreciation for the Sam Brannon meeting. City Manager, you hit it out of the park. I mean, you hit it out of the park. And if you did not attend that meeting, I encourage you to watch it on YouTube. I think this is probably the first time since I've been in this seat that just the overwhelming positivity that came out of that. And that this is coming from emails, text messages, just everything. And I don't even try to put my slant in it. I just tell people, just watch it, just watch it. And we had a room full of people that were concerned about the pickleball, which is a big deal nowadays, and the fact that they didn't feel safe going down there. And then the other folks are excited about having the possibility of a future dog park. And so it was a win-win. As the vice mayor would say, we're just reclaiming our property. And with maybe two naysayers, it went over just exceedingly well. And I'm really proud of the organization stepping up and clearly stating the need to do that. And I'm glad we did it. And with that, I conclude my report.
Thank you. Councilmember Shaw.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Not much to report as I was at a national conference for my investment business. We'll say during that time, one of the highlights that I will share with you is I had the opportunity to have breakfast, about 20 of us did, with retired Admiral Grady, who just retired as the vice chairman of the Joint Chiefs. Incredible man, a lot of great information there. The economy's stable and go on from there. So I was out of town for that. And then I just want to say thank you for my council members for pivoting. I didn't blow off the meeting for Sam Brannon and didn't blow off a few other things. I want to say thank you to Sutter North Hospital and Sutter North Medical. They took really good care of me. I went in thinking that I had an allergic reaction to something, and several hours later I found myself in the ER, and then down in Roseville at the hospital. And thanks, Mike, for coming down. Vice Mayor came down and visited me, and all of my glory, my hospital gown there, sitting there, IV in my arm. But they took very good care of me. But thanks for pivoting, covering meetings, and taking care of what needed to be done at Sam Brannon. So thank you. Oh, one final thing. I saw this before, but I've been looking at it all night, and I don't know if we've brought this up yet. But I remember, Robert, you and I standing here last year talking about this. You had the idea of the saying, I don't know if any of you have paid attention up there, but across that back wall, because Robert was talking about first putting it on the windows and stuff back there, I said, as a reminder, that would be the best place for it, because it reminds us as members of this council, we're entrusted with the city, and it simply says, one community, endless possibilities, a place to call home. So Robert, great idea. I love it. And I hope more people will pay attention to that, because that really captures our city and where we're going. So thank you.
All right. Vice Mayor Pasquale.
Thank you, Mayor. Endless amount of meetings. I don't even want to talk about them all. Everything that, all the good things that have been already talked about tonight, so I won't repeat them, other than it will be Waffle Wednesday on next Wednesday, the 26th, at the Senior Center. please attend. It's a good time. Waffles are great. And with that, conclude my report.
All right, thank you. It has been busy, and so I'm going to rip through a lot of meetings that I've attended and a couple of announcements. Met with the Western Farm Workers Association at their request. Spent about 2.5 hours down there. With the ag economy in the state that it is, they've got a lot of concerns with their farm workers. Not only are there fields with the peaches, peach industry in turmoil right now, those jobs are gone. Other jobs are gone. So that's a pretty big, significant portion of our community is actually involved in some form or fashion with Western farm workers. And it's not just farm workers. They represent a rather large cross-section of the community. More to come on that. Attended at the request of Congressman Mike Thompson at the EDC, a Social Security roundtable. It's astounded to hear this figure. I shouldn't be, but I was. Social Security contributes to Sutter County via benefits $360 million annually. That's the amount of money that comes in from Social Security to our community, and an additional 190 in Medicare payments. So that's clearly $550 million that comes into this community from federal funds. And probably the most impactful of Social Security, because that's money given to people to live. And so when you hear things about Social Security, I'm not going to get into all the gory details of what's right and what's wrong. Just pay attention to that, because that is a big economic driver for this community. Attended the Sutter Buttes flood control meeting. Nothing really exciting there. The projects continue. The levee project to the south, the final piece, that one's going to be completed. They're just putting some final touches on a pipeline, but they're getting going on the east side of the Sutter bypass levee, or at least they're trying to. That's dependent upon a brick grant that was pulled back. And they are actively trying to get that reestablished. And they also have some projects up and down the Feather River. Attended at the Farm Bureau at the request of the Farm Bureau folks, another roundtable, listening to the farm folks talk about the impacts to their industries and what that means. I was able to communicate the impact economically to the city of Yuba City, as much as people aren't probably as aware as they should be. Ag economy locally absolutely directly impacts the city of Yuba City in regards to goods and services sold within our city and the sales tax that goes with it, as along with the jobs. Mentioned the Purple Heart Trail dedication. I want to thank Brock Bowen for spearheading that, along with the Veterans of Foreign War and American Legion folks with that. And thanks to the council for showing up and helping put that on. We got nice signage on highways 99 and 20. Attended SACOG's Transportation Committee meeting. As I have mentioned, I think right now we're looking at the potential for $2.56 million in road improvements coming through SACOG. Josh Wolf and your team should be congratulated on the hard work that they're doing in putting forward these grant applications, because without them, we would not be. We vote on this coming Thursday. I'm very, very hopeful and actually anticipate it passing. Our grant proposals, there's 34 grant proposals turned in. 20 of them are being proposed for funding. We scored 2 and 7 and 8 out of those 20. That's pretty darn good for a city of Yuba City. So really appreciate that. Attended the ribbon cutting for Lakeview Petroleum's Little Market on Clark Avenue. Thought that was pretty cool. At the Regional Housing Authority, I'm almost done. At the Regional Housing Authority, we continue to deliberate, I guess, or try to deal with a request by Lake County to join the Regional Housing Authority. And there are issues apparently with the Colusa City City Hall. You may recall we all agreed to have Lake County come in, but Colusa City is not at this point. So we continue to deal with that. And you will see in your email via Christie a invitation to participate in the Alzheimer's Walk on September the 5th. They would like us to cut the ribbon. So if you can spare some time on the 5th, and you'll see that email coming forward. Other than that, just, tonight's one of those good nights where, the police department's got 200 and some odd thousand or 350,000 in grants. We're staring down the barrel of another 2.56 million. So, it's great. We're trying to return our taxpayer monies back here to benefit our city, and our staff, I think, is doing a hell of a job, excuse my language, in doing that. So with that, I'll go ahead and adjourn this meeting.